Hello, how you all doing? Mike Bradley. I hope you are doing well as always. So, first things first. There's been a bit of an accident. There's been a loss. So, basically, if you're a regular viewer, you would know there's sometimes some pictures behind me of some Beatles, and here. Well, here's the frame. Luckily the pictures are alright, but it all took a bit of a tumble, and the glass is fine, but the actual frames, there we go. So yeah, bit annoyed about that. I had it up with those Velcro things, so always use nails, kids. Always use nails. Well, this room's an absolute bit of a mess. This room, I need to do a big kind of change up, really. I want to get some more shelves, maybe a little cabinet, because over there I got shelves with pedals, but also all the boxes, and oh man, so I might get a little pedal cabinet up here. Anyway, random start the video, but it's a bit different because it's a Q&A video. A few of you have asked me and messaged me, DM me, as the cool people say, on the old Instagram, and said, yo Mike, when are you going to do some Q&As again? It's been a while. And I was like, yeah, I know, it has been a while. And I thought, well, I'll do a Q&A this week. So let's get cracking. I've got my Mac, I've got my phone. Now the first couple of questions are from my lovely people on Patreon, and I asked them first because they're, you know, very, very supportive for little old me. And the first one is from the lovely, lovely Christina. And she thought this might be a bit of a lame question, but there's no such thing as a lame question because all questions are good. And she asked, I'm curious to know if you're a Bob Marley fan at all. And that's good to be curious, you know. Am I a Bob Marley fan? I respect him. Now, it's kind of funny because I'm half Jamaican. I don't know if I've ever said that, but yeah, I'm half Jamaican. And so in the summertime, if you notice, I go really, really brown. Especially if I go away, like there's some videos in the back, I'm just black, you know. So, and my dad didn't know his real father. And all we knew, he was a Jamaican singer. So when I was a kid, I would just think Bob Marley was my granddad. Because, you know, you think Jamaican singers and Bob Marley's the first person. So, so yeah, I certainly respect his music. And as I've got older, I like a lot more, what's that? Redemption Song. I think that's a lovely, lovely song. Of course, I Shot the Sheriff and No Woman, No Cry and that kind of stuff. So, but I'm not a huge reggae fan, if I'm honest. But I do like Bob Marley. I say he was a fantastic songwriter. But yeah, the actual genre of reggae, excuse me, I've just had my lunch. The actual genre of reggae, I've never been a huge fan of, nor ska. It just doesn't really stir my loins, you know. But Bob Marley's a songwriter. Yeah, I like him. And I thought he was my grandfather, so. The next question is, again, from Patreon, from the lovely Matt Wund. I think I pronounced your name right, mate. W-U-N-D. But Matt, you know I know who you are. And he's put, one of my many challenges as I learn to improvise is that I find it difficult to use efficient fingerings. I've seen many video lessons on where to put the fingers when improvising with scales, modes and chords, but never on how to make quick, efficient decisions on which fingers to use, when to bar notes for double stops, and how to do all of this while muting unused strings. I've seen videos in the past in isolation, but never in the context of soloing. Thanks. Okay. Right, I think I know what you mean. So let me get an acoustic. Right. It's in tune. So yeah, I'll do it on acoustic because I haven't got my amp mic'd up. So basically, you know, the fingerings and where to put your fingers and stuff like that, I completely get what you're saying. And the short answer, I always look at it as, is the most common sense way. You know, so, you know, if I was doing something like that, you know, like, so basically, for example, don't dismiss your pinky. you know, do use your little finger. And a lot of people just kind of do the 3 finger stuff. And you know, if you're bending and stuff, you know, so do I. But then just there, I slid back and I use my little finger for it. So, you know, if you're playing something, can you feel yourself get kind of, you know, kind of tripping over yourself a little bit? You know, kind of go back and play whatever you are doing, like at half speed or something like that, and really, you know, be strict on yourself in your fingerings there, because I expect chances are you're neglecting your little finger and just relying on them and trying to do all the work. You know, like I've never really been like a Gary Moore or Hendrix kind of school where, you know, if you're taking your pentatonic, you know, that bit, they would use their first and second fingers, where I'd use, and a lot of people kind of use their first and third. So yeah, hopefully that's kind of answered your question. You know, the short answer is the kind of most common sense way. You know, like with bar chords and things like that, and sometimes you get kind of different kind of, you know, the kind of tastier chords. But you know, it's just you got to apply your fingers to that given shape, if that makes sense. And I think as well, you know, is knowing your neck. So if I think you're saying about, you know, double stops and stuff. You know, if you're going from, you know, some kind of a legato kind of woodly line, and then, you know, so it's kind of making sure that map, the matrix system as I've called it, you know, your vision of the neck is kind of, you're at home on the neck more. Hopefully I'm making sense here. So I would slow everything down a bit more, you know, and then build it up that way. But so common sense fingers, make sure you're using your little finger. And if you're getting kind of lost from going from a, you know, a run, a fast kind of passage to double stops, chances are you might not know your neck as well as one would hope you would. Hope that answers your question, Matt, and keep me posted. Let me know how you're getting on with it. So all these next ones are coming from Instagram. I put a thing up on my stories that I was doing a Q&A, and a load of you message me, which is very nice. I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. Apologies if I don't make yours. But Woot Cops asked, as a musician, what is your opinion on modern day pop music? Do you feel like it would take less musical skill and knowledge to make it as a pop musician nowadays in comparison with the 70s and 80s? I would say it might have been easier in the 70s and 80s to, you know, no, with pop music now, like pop music, you know, so Taylor Swift's and all those kind of stuff, that is a genre, you know, that is kind of push button music where, you know, you've got songwriting teams of about 8 or 9 people, and they're, you know, creating beats, you know, in Pro Tools and stuff like that, and building a song that way. In the 70s, you know, I automatically think of like the Eagles and the Americana kind of stuff, where they're musicians, you know. At the same time, the knowledge has kind of shifted because, you know, the production value is quite high now, I suppose. I mean, it was high back then, but it's a different kind of caliber. I mean, I'm not super savvy still with Logic. I can do enough to get by, but people have like really got it down now, you know. So I mean, I don't think, you know, yeah, I mean, are there in the guitar world, you know, are there kind of virtuoso musicians out there in the top, you know, in the chart music, in the top 40? Not really. I mean, James Bay comes to mind. I know he can play and he writes some good tunes. Who else? There's a guy called Sam Fender. He's quite new. I don't know much about him. I've heard a couple of his songs. Again, he sounds like he knows what he's doing, kind of thing, you know. But it's a very much a different world now, you know. People just kind of almost throw it. Was it? I heard an Ariana Grande song, I remember, and it was like, These are a few of my favourite things. It took that melody and did their own thing, and the way the vocals are all compressed now, you can't even hear what she's saying, you know. And I'm like, also, what the hell? I just, you know, do you really have to take another melody line? You can't come up with your own. I'm not a fan of that, you know. So I don't think it's necessarily easier now than the 70s or 80s. Or sorry, you didn't say that. You said, do you feel like it would take less musical skill and knowledge to make it as a pop musician nowadays? Depends on what you want to do. All I would say with that is that, you know, you should do what makes you happy. So if for you, your music is kind of Frank Zappa-esque, you know, very, very math-based music, then, you know, you need a lot of knowledge for that. If your musical tastes are just, you know, C, F, and G, then go for it, you know. But I think it's different. I think it's just very different nowadays. I wouldn't say that people don't have a lack of knowledge of, you know, theoretical music out there. Hopefully that makes sense. Benjamin Strand asks, what do you think of the last Game of Thrones episode, and how do you think it should have ended? A lot of people ask that about Game of Thrones, actually. I thought it was alright. I got a little bit choked. I'm going to watch what I say in case there's people out there who haven't seen it yet. So I'm not, no, spoilers just in case, but I'm going to be very careful what I say. But I will say I did get a little bit choked up with the part with Bran involved with everyone. That I was like, oh, you know, that was a bit emotional. But how certain things happened, again, I'm watching what I was saying here, how certain things happened, I wasn't surprised it was going to happen. I was surprised when a certain big thing happened, how early on it happened in the show. I'm saying happened a lot, aren't I? But it could have, I think the whole series, that final series, could have done with an extra 2 or 3 episodes. It was very rushed. Like that big thing, what happened, and then all of a sudden it's, you know, an advert, and then it's cut forward a few weeks later, and, you know, they're saying, you know, this person is held somewhere, you know, and it's like, well, I would like to have seen what happened in between that. So it could have done with a few more episodes, personally. But I think how everyone ended up, I thought was good, and how our main character, seeing them with, you know, back where he kind of belonged was cool. Oh, I said he. Shit. It's good to see John back up in the north. Right, I'm letting it go. Right, Thrashed Me asked, do you own any PRS, and would you prefer PRS over Fender? No, I don't own any PRS. Very, you know, friendly with the lovely Jean from PRS. Hello, if you're watching. There are some PRSs. There was a Custom 24 I really liked when I was at GitCon. I still have dreams over that. And I like some of the arch top, not the arch top, like the semi-bodied PRSs. I wouldn't mind kind of checking them out properly. But do I prefer them over Fender? No, because they're completely different. They're not doing what Fender's doing. I've grown up playing Fenders, so I'm very much more at home on a Fender. I've never owned a PRS, and I've played a handful of them. So no, I don't prefer them over Fender. I like PRS, but, you know, I'm at home more on a Fender guitar, Fender type of guitar. Right, this is a very good question from Lewis Alson 05. And he's asked, how many hours do you practice, and when did you start to practice at that level? So practicing guitar varies, to be honest with you. I mean, I haven't practiced guitar today. I taught at a school earlier, so I had a guitar in my hand, and I had lunch, and then I've just started filming. So, and I got a couple of lessons later, so I'm probably not going to practice today. I'm playing guitar, but I'm not practicing. I might try and do a little bit of finger exercises to get myself going. But I on average, I do try and, practice at least half an hour to an hour a day. But sometimes I've done 7-hour practices. So if I've got like a Sunday free, I'll just play guitar all day. But when I was younger, I really took it seriously when I left school. So when I was about 16 and I went to the ACM Music Academy. And so my homework was to practice the guitar. So I would practice a minimum of 2 hours a day, and I was very structured. And then it was 2 hours because I had a part-time job which I worked, I think, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, if I remember rightly. So Tuesdays and Wednesdays were kind of 2 hours a day. Monday, Thursday, Friday in the week was, sometimes about 3 or 4, the weekend, no, on a Sunday, probably more. I mean, it varies, but at least 2 hours a day, at least, up to 4, 5, 6 hours. So, but when you're 16, you haven't got as many responsibilities, and it's hard for me to do 6 hours every single day because I'm quite busy. So it's hard fitting everything in. It really is. But yeah, I try and practice at least, I'm saying that I probably won't today, but well, yeah, I should. I'll try and do half an hour to an hour a day. If I can do more than that, sorted. Enrico Senol, hello buddy. He's asked best overdrives. Oh man, there's loads, aren't there? I'm gonna say kind of my kind of companions in this industry. I love the Hampstead Odyssey overdrive pedal. I was doing session work yesterday. Was using that a ton. I was also using the Peacekeeper from Thorpe. Was using that a ton, and I love that. That's nearly on every gig. I really like the Seymour Duncan 805 overdrive. I use that a lot. I really like the Vertex Ultraphonics. That's really cool. So that's 4 for you there. So Hampstead Odyssey dry pedal, which is so versatile from cleans to, low gain to high gain to fuzz. The Thorpe Peacekeeper, that's more of a low gain one. Seymour Duncan 805 is fantastic. And the Vertex Ultraphonics. There you go. My 4. I'm going to do a video actually soon about my favourite overdrive pedals. So, well, actually, it's probably just going to be those 4 I just talked about. Though I do really like, I want to do a little shout out. I have it here, let me unplug it. I really like the Joyo Zip Amp. I really like that. And that's really affordable as well. I think it's under £50. So yeah, a little shout out to Joyo as well there. Antgon 1983, hello buddy. He's asked, have you ever felt compelled to play bass or had to play bass for some reason? Haven't felt compelled, but I do want to play and get into bass. And up for the last 3 years, probably more than that, maybe 6. I've been wanting to buy a bass, and I'm hoping I will do that actually soon. And just get, when I do session work, and I'll be in the studio before, and they've asked me, can you put some bass down here? And my face just dropped. So I'm like, I can try. I'm not really a good bass player, so, and also I want to do more recordings at home, and it would be cool to have a bass here. So, playing bass was how I started. When I was 10, my friends were 15, 16, and they started a band, and they gave me a bass to play. I wanted to play drums. Mum said, you can't have a drum kit, it's too loud. You could have a guitar. That's how I got a guitar. But first time playing a stringed instrument was a bass guitar. But I haven't felt compelled, but I want to get into playing some bass. A really cool question from Brian Pretty. Brian, B-R-Y-N, Pretty. Sorry for not pronouncing your name right, but we've spoken a few times on Instagram, so hello buddy. Really cool question. My band is planning on trying to do gigs around our area soon. Is there any tips you'll suggest to get hired? You're going to want an EP or a demo or something. Google the venues and see if there's any promoters who put on those venues, put on nights at those venues. Chances are there will be, or the venue will just do it in-house. and send them your demo. Of course, now it's a bit different and it's all about social media. So they're going to want to know how many people you can bring and all that shiz. Don't do pay to play. Don't do that. It pisses me off when promoters want you to buy a load of tickets up front. And it's like, well, you're not a promoter now, you know. And I've had it a few times. Even now, I'll get a promoter email me, wanting me to play on one of their nights, wanting me to buy tickets up front. And I was like, well, I might as well just hire the venue myself and put on my own night. Because a promoter is meant to promote the gig, and they don't. So a good promoter will not ask for pay to play. But yeah, so you're going to want your social media kind of up to date. Yeah, get a demo and just start emailing. Just start emailing about, and yeah, hopefully if you're over 18, hopefully, no, maybe approach some local pubs. You might have to do a couple of covers. But I remember when I was 17, too young to be in a pub, but being 17 and had an original band, and we would do some pub gigs, and we would throw some covers in as well, just to keep people, like Ziggy Stardust we used to do, and Pinball Wizard, and Basket Case by Green Day we used to do that, and some Ocean Colour Scene, and Stereophonics and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, just get emailing, get some music out there, and best of luck. It's great to know you're getting out playing. Right, so Lovro.k he's asked 2 questions. What are your tips on practicing staying in time while playing lead parts? And 2, if you were building a really budget rig right now, sub £1,000, what would you go for? Okay, what are your tips on practicing staying in time while playing lead parts? I get asked that a lot. You got to get the foundations down. If you're struggling with that, you know, make sure you can, you know, play some chords in time, and then make sure you can make sure you play your lead in time, so then you know, so then you can put it all together. So if you're struggling playing in time with your lead or with your rhythm, you need to get that down. And then once that's down, be able to do that kind of stuff. Is a lot easier. So once you got it, it's just doing it, you know. I never really practiced it, I just did it. You know, so try, you know, is this in tune? Right, sorry about that. So hit an A note, and then maybe hit a C note, playing the same note. So then I hit a D note. You know, something like that, and build it that way. And then in you want to be thinking da 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 da. That's what the chords would be, you know. So then you build it that way. So, but it's all about those foundations first, boys and girls. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, you asked another question. So my budget rig on under £1,000, I'd want to get a valve amp. That's my main thing. Oh God, a rig. So, no, I started off gigging with a wah-wah pedal, a Boss SD1, an amp and a guitar. So I would buy a second-hand Fender Strat. I would buy a second-hand valve amp. Even if it's like a Hotwood Deluxe or something, or Blues DeVille or something like that. Yeah, I would want to get a second. So let's say you find, I remember I bought my blue Strat for £300 second hand. It was in 2002. And I know Fender Strat Pluses go for about £600-700 second hand. So I would find an American Standard USA Strat. I'm sure you can get one for £500, maybe £400. I reckon you could haggle them down. I would find a good second-hand valve amp. I'm sure you can get a good second-hand valve amp for about £400. That's 800 quid. And then you've got £200. So I would get a wah-wah, and I would get so a wah-wah, what's that? You can get about 80 quid, £80, sorry. And then let's say the Boss SD1. I'm gonna go back to my roots. Sorted. And then it will have, hopefully your valve amp's got reverb. So if you want a bit of modulation, buy second hand. Actually, you better get, as this is one of my new favourite pedals at the moment. I bought this second hand, this MXR Univibe. I bought that second hand for £80. So what's that? You got the wah-wah, which is what a Dunlop wah-wah is about £80. Boss SD1 is 40 quid, 80, 90, 100. Or you can get that's just might be a few pounds over £1,000, all that. But second-hand Strat, second-hand valve amp, a wah-wah pedal, Boss SD1, and a Univibe, because I love this pedal. It's great. Boom. Okay, this is the last one, because this might be a really long video now. But this is from Tim Love, who's a pal of mine. Hello, Tim. And he's asked, what exercises can you recommend to improve one's 8-finger tapping? And I said to him it's going in. So I can't 8-finger tap. But I do remember trying to do something like this. So you could, I'm in E just because I've got an acoustic. So you could try, what's that, B, C and D. And then go E, F, G here. So I got E on my first finger, F with my second finger, and then G with my little finger. That really hurts because I have no callus on my right hand's little finger. So that's actually 6-finger tapping, as I'm missing out 2 fingers. I haven't done this in years, obviously, because I can't do it. And then hammer on, and then you want to pull off to it. There we go, that was alright. That wasn't bad. You do that for 10 minutes a day, you're gonna get good at 8-finger tapping. Can I be bothered to do that? No. There you go. Hopefully you enjoyed this random Q&A. It's been a while. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if enough of you ask me other questions, I will more than happily do another Q&A. This is going to go out Friday, so it won't be Q&A Wednesday or Friday. This will be a Q&A day. So yeah, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. And if you want me to do another one, I'll do it. Hopefully you enjoyed this randomness, as always, from little old me. And this is my old Takamine, by the way. Very knackered Takamine. But she's a dear friend. We've done a lot together. Anyway, so I'm gonna go and quickly practice, get my half an hour in that I was talking about earlier. And I hope you're all very good and well. And I'll see you very, very soon. Mike Brady very much sign out. Bye! The devil's on my side. Talking to myself